Bej and I walked down the long red carpet towards the door, where I suddenly noticed two guards that are standing inconspicuously by the entrance. They immediately bow at the waist as Bej passes, and I can't help but blush as they open up the doors for us. Bej offers me his arm, and I take it quickly, not really sure what to do. His parents are sitting at the end of a room in two ornately decorated wooden thrones. There are large glass windows illuminating a sea of beautiful flowers beyond, and, out of the corner of my eye, I can see golden chandeliers hanging from the ceiling. I want to turn to look at everything at once, but I don't want to seem like a child, and so I just fix my eyes, front and center. Wait, I say, reaching out to Bej with white magic. How do I dress them? I don't know what to call them. King Solomon and Queen Melodia of the Isle of Westwood, Bej replies quickly, but don't worry about it too much. They know you're new to this nobility thing. Oh, great. On one hand, I was glad they would go easy on me for missing any slips of decorum, but at the same time, I still wanted to make a good impression. When we are only a few feet from the steps of the platform holding their thrones, Bej stops, and I quickly let go of his arm as I drop into a low curtsy. That is quite impressive, Solomon says with good humor in his voice, and I almost topple over. Is that what you learned at Miss Minchin's? Yes, I stammer nervously. Sir, King, Lord. In the back of my mind, I'm glad that Hieronymous isn't here to see me acting like a total idiot. Your Grace, he corrects me with an amused smile. It's a pleasure to meet you, Lady Grabiner. Bej would talk of nothing but you from the minute he returned home from his sojourn last year. Oh? I ask, glancing aside at Bej, who just blushes. Only the good things are true. Both Solomon and Melodia both laugh, and I let out a slow breath, mentally willing myself to keep calm. We did hear about what you did with the Wild Sea Girl's spirit, he continues, and I quickly dip my eyes down. I trust that you have been fully reprimanded for that event? I have, I say quietly, casting my eyes down. I would like to extend an apology to you both personally for seeking Bej's involvement in the matter as well. He just nods stiffly. Then let us put that matter behind us, he says, and I nod quickly as I look up again. How is Lord Grabiner doing? I hesitate for a moment. Although she seems to be doing well, I don't see him much. Hieronymous writes to me daily. I hesitate for a moment. Do I want to tell them that Hieronymous was struggling with his new role as Viscount? Was that something they could help with? Or would that seem like a mark of weakness? He is finding his new role as Viscount quite different from his role as a professor at Iris Academy. I should say so, he replies with a light chuckle. It has been quite interesting to see him again. The last time I set eyes on him, he was but a teenage boy, not a hair older than Bej. Seeing how much he has matured over these past few years gives me hope that Bej will soon do the same. I open my mouth and then quickly shut it again. I had absolutely nothing to say to that. I just nod stiffly, pursing my lips together. Do not tease them so, Melodia says gently. And Hieronymous has been treating you well since our last visit, I hope? He has, I reply brightly. I just saw him over Thanksgiving recess. I know it's primarily an American holiday, but he invited all of my friends from Iris Academy over for Thanksgiving dinner so that we could all celebrate together because he knew how much I missed them. I'm sure you've probably heard many stories and rumors about him, but he is very, nice and smart and kind. He has many, many good qualities. I'm blushing furiously, and I quickly drop my head so it's parallel to the floor as I just steady the fabric of the red carpet beneath my feet. Apparently, Bej was not exaggerating when he told us how much you care for him, Solomon says with amusement in his voice. Believe me when I say that the details of your relationship are a mystery to many. Hieronymous is a private person, I say with a shrug, although I can vaguely hear Miss Minchin's voice in the back of my head, scolding me for such an unladylike gesture. I know his past invites many unsavory rumors about his reputation, but he is exceedingly kind to me and he treats me well. He's a good man, and the tragedy of his past is no reflection on the person he is now. He and Melodia share a look, although I'm not sure what it means. Even Bej looks confused for a moment, but neither of us says anything as we wait for them to respond. I know that you have long waited to peruse our gardens, Melodia says as she turns back to me. Let us take a promenade before the gala tonight, yes? Yes, of course, Your Grace, I say as I dip my head forward in a shallow nod. She stands, and I give them a final curtsy as I turn and follow her out of the room, with Bej trailing along beside me. I follow her through a maze of twisting hallways until we finally emerge through a glass door out into a large meadow. We're along the east wall of the castle, Bej tells me. This is where we started growing the Tori blossoms. The Tori blossoms, I repeat with a blush. Is that really what they're called? They're a species of my own creation, Melodia says as she leads us through a sea of blue flowers with lavender-colored centers. The flowers are a lighter blue in the sunlight, and then turn a darker shade when it's cloudy, or as the sun starts to set. I enchanted them as such when Bej told me you like to change your hair depending on your mood. I can't help but blush. I hadn't really realized Bej had picked up on that, or that he had told his mother about that. They are very beautiful, Your Grace. Does the color do them justice? She asks as she turns back to me. I kneel down and hold out the ends of my hair to one of the flowers. It looks like a match, I say happily as I look up at her. You've done an outstanding job. Really, I am floored. Floored. She tilts her head to the side as she turns to Bej. Amazed, he replies. Wowed. Impressed. I know, it took me a while to become accustomed to the way Americans speak as well. It is very strange, I agree. It's just the way I grew up speaking, so I didn't question it until Bej came to stay with us. You did an excellent job serving as his guide to American life, she says as she ruffles Bej's hair. I think that Bej has learned many important lessons after living in your country for a year. He was a really hard-working student, I tell her. He really applied himself to his studies, and he made a lot of good friends. He behaved like a real leader at a lot of student council events. You would have been proud of him. Tori, stop, Bej whispers, his cheeks flushing with embarrassment. Have you ever pressed flowers, Tori? How would you like to learn how to press flowers? I look between them. I'm willing to learn anything you'd like to teach me, I say, and Bej smiles gratefully. There's no one who can tell you more about how to preserve flowers than my mother, he says brightly. Just follow us. Actually, Bej, will you run along and start setting up? Melodia asks. I have a few things to ask Tori privately. Bej blushes, but nods and does what he's told as he runs off. She watches him go for a moment before she turns to me and brushes my hair off my shoulders, holding me at arm's length. She seems to be inspecting me, but I'm not quite sure what she's looking for. You are quite a beautiful girl, Tori, she says as she brushes my hair back. You have a kind heart, but a fire, too. Tell me how you were raised. I have no idea what to say. I was raised as a wild seed. I didn't know I could perform magic until I was 13. I was raised by two parents, a mother and a father. They, had a rocky relationship. I made the choice to forget them when I was under the duress of a memory spell, and I learned only recently that my father has passed away. I have no idea what happened to my mother, but she's a part of my non-magical life, and I had to let her go. That's unfortunate, she says quietly as she continues to study me. And Hieronymous, you say he treats you well? Very, very well, I say brightly. I know that there are rumors that he took Violet's life in the other world, but they aren't true. He left for America because he was ashamed, not because he was guilty. He has grown a lot in the past decade, and I would trust him with my life. I have trusted him with my life, and I'm still here. She seems deep in thought, and I just let her think. Do you think Hieronymous feels the same way? Yes, I answer immediately. Yes, of course he does. He cares about me more than anything. More than anything? The statement doesn't feel completely true, but I say nothing. She says again. Then, Bej was quite taken with you, Tori. He thinks the world of you. Oh. I blushed for a moment. I always thought that we had a sister-brother relationship. I thought he felt that way as well. Did his parents interpret that as something else? You are quite clearly devoted to Hieronymous, she says quietly, and you believe that he is as devoted to you. But in the next few years, if something does come between you, I want you to know that I will consider you as a strong contender for my son. I open and shut my mouth, baffled by the insinuation. You mean if Hieronymous wasn't in the picture, you would want me to marry Bej? Melodia laughs behind her hand. I have a unique gift, Tori. I see people not as they are, but as they want to be. You are an empath, just as I am, and you are connected to the old magic, just as I am. You have abilities others do not, Tori, and you will be very powerful once you learn to embrace these gifts. Gifts? I ask blankly. What do you mean? Melodia just shakes her head as she glances off into the distance. Nothing we need to talk about now. You are young yet, and these gifts will start to make themselves more apparent as you get older. But just remember that we share a future, you and I. Do not be afraid to call on me should you have need. I can't help but flush. I will, Your Grace. Thank you for the offer. She nods. Now, let us not keep young Bej waiting. With that, she takes my hand in hers and she leads me off after Bej.